welcome back to another video. This one will be a wrap-up of the books that I read in January and February of 2024. Why did I say 2024? So that's so weird. Speaking of weird, if you notice, and you will notice that my voice is weird indeed today, I have a huge ass cold. I've had it for like a month and it still hasn't gone away, and my voice is just getting progressively worse, so I should get to the doctor. We are here to make a video about the books we read this year so far. And so far I've read 5 books. I finished the 5th yesterday. I think that I could have read more than I have, but the problem is that I do have 2 5-star books in this video. So the more I like the book, the more time I take to finish it, because I just want to savor it, every moment of it, and I just don't want it to end, which is, you know, most people, when they really like a book, they'll finish it quicker than if they don't like a book. But yeah, my boyfriend says I'm abusing my cat and she's going to sue me because I'm carrying her. She likes it though, right? So the first book I read in 2024, why can't I say it just right? It was What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. It was my first book by T. Kingfisher, and to be honest, I wasn't that hyped about it. It was kind of a disappointment because I was expecting to really like it, but I'm kind of biased in this. The main 2 reasons I read it was because of the cover, because the cover is really beautiful. And then it was because I did watch The Fall of the House of Usher in Netflix. The TV show came out, it was late last year, I think. No, not late, it was in like October or November or something like that. And I did watch it back then, and I did really like it. And I knew that it was kind of like a retelling of the original by Edgar Allan Poe, also named The Fall of the House of Usher. So I went into this expecting something creepy, which I did get something creepy, but I was expecting something more fast-paced, which this book wasn't. It was more scripted than fast-paced, and that threw off my concentration a bit, so it kind of got hard to get through it. Like in the beginning, it's okay, you're setting the atmosphere and all, but then it just got kind of really boring and yeah, just tiring. And what I said about it being creepy, like I said, yeah, it's creepy, but in my opinion, I'm a person who usually gets grossed out and creeped out a lot easily. And I didn't think that this book did it for me. The TV show was much more like gory and creepy, and from what I've like skimmed through the original book by Edgar Allan Poe, it was also more creepy and more gruesome, and this just didn't do it for me. I was expecting to be like creeped out, super like, oh my god, why am I reading this at night? But I was just like, okay, that happened, cool, it's creepy, but yeah. I did end up giving this a 2.75 out of 5 stars because, like I said, it wasn't all that entertaining for me, and if it wasn't that short of a book, I would probably have DNF'd it. Yeah, but again, if it wasn't that short, it would have maybe been better because I had more time to develop, you know? If I seem out of breath, it's because I am. The second book I read, it was one that I was not expecting to read. I wasn't even expecting to read anything by this author because I'm not huge on romance only books. I really was back in 2019 or something, and I don't censor the people that only read romance. Like, for example, I mainly read fantasy, and only now I'm switching it up a bit, so believe me, I don't blame you at all for only reading romance. But I decided to give a romance book a try this year. And of course, me being myself, I love my rom-coms. I love those 2000 rom-coms, so I had to get those vibes, and I did it with Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood. And if you told me a few months ago that I would be reading an Ellie Hazelwood book and give it a great ass rating, I would say you would be insane. This book was really enjoyable. I really liked this book. It was that cheesy romance rom-com like 2000 style, and I really liked it. I really liked it. I was looking for like a break from fantasy, more of a relaxed read, since my last books in 2024, apart from Heartstopper, were fantasy books, and the first book of the year was also like a fantasy creepy book. So I wanted something light, you know, just to start the year off easy, so I chose this one. And I do not regret it at all. I had a really great time reading it. I mainly loved the main female character, Elsie. Yeah, Elsie. She was very likable, because most times in romance books I tend to not really like the female main character, and even the main male character. My voice is failing, wait a second. So yeah, I was surprised that I really liked her. I was expecting to be like, I won't like her, like, no. But I did like her a lot. Okay, so Ellie Hazelwood has this really big problem with describing our female characters as small and fragile, and our male characters as big. And she what did she say in the book? Wait a second. She said that the main character, the male main character, was towering like a tower, and she said this a lot and kept referring to how tall he was and how small she was. And you know, I ignored it. I went past that and enjoyed the rest of the story. I also loved that this touched on more serious subjects, like Elsie, the main character, being low on money and struggling with money and paying rent, which are, you know, problems that most people have these days. And also that she has diabetes, and she was struggling to even buy her medicine. I've never seen in the books I read a main character with diabetes. And I also think that the characters had some really good development. It wasn't like that I start here and this is where I end up, like, here I am, this is me, I'm the same. I don't know how to explain this, but they had really good development. The writing was straightforward, very easy to read, a very relaxing read. And yeah, it was filled out with dad jokes. I love dad jokes, like corny jokes. So yeah, I liked it. I gave it a 4.25 out of 5 stars. Again, I would never believe I would give an Ellie Hazelwood this rating, but I did. And actually I did order Bride by her. Yeah. Okay, so for this one I had to get my journal because I don't have the review written on Storygraph, which I thought I did. But no, I only wrote it on here. And this is spread for January. Oh my god, my voice! This is a spread I did for January for my books that I read. And as you can see, What Moves the Dead, Love Theoretically, and the next is also by T. Kingfisher, because I was not going to let me not enjoying What Moves the Dead stop me from reading more of her work. It's actually the only book that I read in January that was a physical book. The third book I read was Thornhedge by T. Kingfisher, and this one is a retelling of Sleeping Beauty, which I didn't know, but as soon as I started reading the story, I was like, wait, this is like, it's sounding familiar, like I know this story. And then I was like, this sounds like Sleeping Beauty, and I'm usually terrible with my fairy tales because I usually make a mess out of them. And then I looked it up, and it is a retell of the Sleeping Beauty fairy tale, and I really liked it. The characters were really lovable. I loved Toadling with my whole heart. I also loved Halim. He's Halim, not Aimlim, like I was saying. So I found that this book was a really good retelling of the original fairy tale. It was fast-paced, unlike the What Moves the Dead. It just it is very awesome, you know. It does have like gory elements because I think from what I've noticed, T. Kingfisher does introduce a lot of creepy, gory stuff into her writing, which I did enjoy. It was very, very awesome because, as I said, I really loved Toadling. She was such a lovable character, and I really liked that in this book, the villain wasn't the princess. Like, usually in fairy tales, you know, the princess is the hero and she's the good girl, and you know, all of that. And usually the knight, he is you know, a knight, he's not broke or poor or anything. I really like that in this book it's actually the opposite, because the princess was the villain of the story, in Toadling, which was this like not beautiful creature, just very not like good looking conventionally. She was actually the good guy, the good guy. And Aemling was not this hugely known knight and wasn't rich or anything. And he was very humble and also not like that conventional good looking. So I really, really like that she took this different take on a fairy tale in our retelling. A retelling is not supposed to be exactly the same story as the original one, so I really like that she did it. I did give this one a 3.75 out of 5 stars. Next book I read, first book of February, is Vicious by V. Schwab, and this is a 6-star for me. This is not even a 5-star, this is a 6-star for me. I have 2 words for you: Victor Vale. Victor fucking Vale. He's a man, I love him. It's a book on morally great characters, and I love me a morally great character. Not a single character in this book was just purely a good person who never does anything wrong. No, this is full of just sinful things. Everyone did something wrong at some point. This is just an amazing book. I haven't written a review for this yet because I just have so many feelings about this, you know. As soon as I finished reading it, I made a TikTok edit for Victor Vale, because what else would I do with my feelings towards a fictional character than make a TikTok edit? Yeah. This book is about 2 guys that were friends in college, and then you follow their like friendship or their life until 10 years present, where one of them is getting out of jail. He ran out of jail and you don't know why. You'll just figure it out throughout the book, and which makes it much more interesting because you're always like, oh, I have to keep reading to figure out what happened. I love some rivals story, and again, the morally gray characters in this, just impeccable. I loved it. This is a solid 6-star out of 5 stars, because I won't give it a 5, it deserves a 6. It deserves a goddamn million stars. So yeah, read it. And the last book that I read, and actually finished it yesterday, is also a 6-star, and I'm just so glad that I read this book because it is so good. I wasn't expecting to find just 164 pages this good and loving it so much. I annotated a lot, as you can see, and it's Kim Jiyoung, born 1982, Cho Namjoon. And I wanted to cry while reading this book. Like it says in the back, I cannot describe this book in any better way than this particular sentence. Kim Jiyoung is every woman. And she really is every woman. With this book, you can see the struggles of being a woman. You can see mainly in South Korea what women have to suffer and get through just for being born a woman and not being born a son. And oh my god, this is just, I cannot put into words how much I love this book because it really represents women. And I felt so seen through this book. Although I haven't gone through stages of our life like childbirth, for example, and being a mother, I can see most of the things that I read in people that I know and are close to me, and things that are my own concern as wanting to become a mother or not, what it'd be like having a child, and just being a woman in society overall. I really, really like this book. I didn't expect this small short book to hit me as hard as it did, and I recommend this to everyone and anyone. Everyone should read this at some point in their life. This was that book that I had only 20 pages left to read, and I took about 3 to 4 days to finish it because I didn't want to say goodbye to Kim Jiyoung. Because honestly, I felt so seen, and just I fell in love with her character. And like the book said, Kim Jiyoung is every woman. So again, I felt really seen through this book. So 6.5, what? 6 stars out of 5 stars, definitely. And if I could, I would give it 1,000,000,000 stars, because read this book. Seriously, read this book. Okay, that's all I read, and this wraps up my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you have more recommendations of books you think I would like, please leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and also comment your books that you read in January and February, because I want to know. And also, as I said, I love some recommendations, so leave them there. Yes, for now I'm going to rest my voice and eat dinner and just get into my PJs, because I just got off a day full of appointments at work, so I'm really, really tired for talking to people. I still wanted to talk to you. See you, bye.